Hi there, this is Simon. It's the Tinyverse 7 and this man is Mr. Geoffrey Wooten.
Hi! Thank you.
Hello, welcome indeed. It's the Tinyverse 7, as I've just said, and with a slight departure for you this month. We're centering on a gentleman called Geoffrey Wooten, who is singing on the new Tinyverse album. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and also we're going to talk about an associated band that you might be interested in hearing about, namely a band that Jim, our guitarist, Paul, our bass player, and indeed Jeff, who is going to be appearing in this month's episode of the Tinyverse. We're all in a band along with some bloke, I'm not entirely sure what his name is, it might have been Jem Godfrey or something. Anyway, he played a bit of keyboards in a band called Charlotte's Web. No, I think Charlotte's Web, there, if you can just see it there. And Charlotte's Web were a band that were operating just after Freefall split up, and very good they were too. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat today with Jeff, reminisce about what he did during those times. Hopefully you enjoy it. I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Mr. Goffy.
Hi there.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm all right. Yes. Are you well?
I'm well. Yeah.
Yes. Good. 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 How did you find your way into this strange little Tinyverse world? How did you find us? How did we find you?
Long story.
Because
you go a long way back.
I was going to say you were actually involved with Jem and Jim's band and Paul's.
Jim, Paul.
Which was called Charlotte's Web.
That's right.
How did you guys meet up?
It's all a bit hazy, to be honest. I think it's got to be late 80s, early 90s, can't remember exactly when. Freefall played, I remember, at Frobel College, at the Roehampton Institute, where I was. I was there between 88 and 91, so it must have been around that time, about 89, 90. You guys played, Freefall played a summer ball, I seem to recall. And
you were cleaning toilets, weren't you?
And I was cleaning the toilets, yeah. Yeah. It was the best. You sounded incredible from in there, actually. And yeah, and I can remember meeting Jim. But I think I'd met Jim before then. But anyway, I knew you guys were playing, and that was an opportunity to meet all the chat. And we sort of met through mutual friends or something. Hi Jim, hi, I'm Jeff, bloody yada yada yada. And I learnt that Charlotte's Web were sort of working. They were going to. Jem and Jim were writing some material and that sort of thing. And I said, well, look, you know, I've sung in bands. So they said, well, come along. And I turned up one morning.
So what was the first gig that Charlotte's Web actually did?
That would have been the Swan. I think we played the Swan in
Fulham.
In Fulham, opposite Fulham Broadway tube station.
Is it there any longer?
I don't think it's there anymore. No, I think we razed it to the ground.
You shut pubs, don't you?
Yeah, and we played there a few times. I don't think we had a residency, although we probably thought we did.
Because there's a photo up on the forum of
that could have been the Swan, although I've got a feeling that may have been the Rock Garden. We played Covent Garden's Rock Garden as well.
But it went through several lineups, didn't it? The Charlotte's Web, didn't it? It had two very distinct.
Several times.
But it had two very distinct lineups. One with the drummer.
Yeah, we started as a sort of five-piece.
Who was in the band?
That was Jem, myself, Paul, and Matt. Yeah, we played together for I don't know, about a year or so.
Yeah.
And I can remember playing the Standard with we were supporting a band called Mentor.
I remember Mentor.
And we sound checked, and we kind of thought I think we were yes, Mentor must have sound checked first, And then we sound checked, having heard them, and thought, oh, right, okay, it's that kind of audience. We can mess around a bit, and we can progify everything, which is what we did. So we sound checked, remember, with Summerhouse, and went on this kind of extended version of it. I can remember because I played the guitar, and yeah, and then I could just recall coming off and having sound checked, and guys in Mentor were having a little band meeting.
In the toilet? In
the toilet, yes, I seem to.
Where all the best band meetings
go.
go.
Absolutely. Well, I used to work in one, and yeah, and they were having a meeting because they were a little worried. I seem to recall that we were going to out-prog them. So we decided that we would open up with this kind of lengthy sort of intro. Jem would hit some low chord, and I would go on some sort of meandering narration, which I did. Much to the, I mean, the audience loved it. It was totally improvised.
I was going to say, this is where the legend "and the dragon rises up above the citadel."
And the dragon rose from the citadel.
Oh, right.
Maybe even from the flames. Although I may be padding it out a tad, even as much as I possibly padded it out on that night.
So after that, there was a major lineup change, isn't it? Where I think you lost both Paul and Matt on drums. And
yeah, I can remember we did. Yeah, we then carried on as a sort of 3-piece using sort of sampled drums and all bits and pieces like that, and threw in a few sort of extra sort of songs and songs that were leaning more towards a sort of pop sort of feel with a bit of sort of.
Do you think that those were some of the formative moments of Jem's pop? Fascination with pop production.
Whether it was consciously at the time, I don't know, but things sort of moved in that direction. I think people were, I think in Jem's case, he was writing material that seemed to lend itself more to those kind of sampled sounds. And
so all told, do you remember how long the band lasted for?
It all seems like it was all over so quickly. I don't know, about a year and a half, possibly. It may be longer. I can't honestly remember, but. Enough to sort of we did a little bit of recording. I remember recording around at your dad's house.
Mm-hmm.
The microphone stuck to it was stuck to some kind of apparatus. I can't remember what, edge of a bunk bed or something.
What about the end of it? How did that all sort of wind up then? In that case, do you remember exactly how it?
It just we did this gig. I remember at the Mean Fiddler, and it was a really, really good gig. We were really pleased with it, and then it just, for some reason or other, that was it. Just we never really got back together again. As far as Jem was concerned, things were starting to happen elsewhere, and so the idea of Charlotte's Way of carrying on was not so much of a priority then.
To bring all of this up to the modern day, are you enjoying being involved in the Tinyverse stuff?
I mean, this is just, apart from the fact that the mic is no longer attached to a bunk bed.
Hey.
Which has taken some getting used to, I can tell you.
Do you want us to buy a bunk bed?
It would help.
Did you fancy doing more singing? Was this something you'd want to do?
It would be nice to do something like this again. So maybe.
Well,
but
all I can say from us is that we're very, very happy that you've turned up. We're nearly happy with what you've done.
Yes.
And as soon as this is finished, we would like you to leave as soon as possible, please.
Know where I'm going.
So get out! Get out!
I don't need to be told twice.
We can ride, we are carried inside, carried along without a plan. We can ride, we are carried inside, carried behind the burning sun. By me, so